So let's get started. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Grivaradari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Giridharadari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadari
Jaya Radha
Labharidharadari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadari Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Jaya Radha Natavara Radha Natavara Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladev Jaya Jaya Gaurangita 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 Jaya Gaurangita Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada ki jai. Please repeat after me. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Pankajanabhaya Namo Pankajamaline Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble respects and obeisances to him. Okay. Thank you all so much for coming. Welcome to ISKCON's Sunday Feast program. So today is, according to Vaishnava calendar, today is Shivaratri. I mean, some traditions celebrated Shivaratri yesterday. Many temples celebrated Shivaratri yesterday, but according to Vaishnava tradition, Shivaratri is celebrated today. Because Thursday was Ekadashi. Last Thursday was Ekadashi. And Shivaratri comes on Chaturdasi. So it's called Shiva Chaturdasi also. Ekadashi, Dwadashi, Trayadashi, then comes Chaturdasi. That's why it's fourth day after that. So generally the devotees of Krishna, so we are followers of ISKCON and we worship Lord Krishna. In general, we don't speak much about Lord Shiva, but this is an opportunity for all of us to glorify Lord Shiva at least once a year. Jai Sri Sri Radha Natagori ki, Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki, Gaura Nitai ki, Jai. Jai. So we take this opportunity on Shivaratri to glorify Lord Shiva. So the question arises in a lot of people's mind. So you guys are Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna's devotees. Then what is the need? Why do we worship Lord Shiva, or why do we have to glorify Lord Shiva? Right? Who is Lord Shiva? What is his personality? How Lord Shiva is related to Lord Krishna? So we will discuss all these points today. We'll try to address all those things. So if you look at Lord Shiva, I'm sure most of you have seen the picture of Lord Shiva, how he looks. Right? Is it there on the? Oh, it's there. Okay, good, wonderful, wonderful. So you have seen, the personality of Lord Shiva, the pictures of Lord Shiva. So how does he appear? What is his physical appearance in general? How does he look? Anyone wants to say? How does he look? How does Lord Shiva look? Snake around his neck. Yeah, the blue throat, right? Blue and blackish throat. What else? What are the things that are very quietly visible that you can distinguish?
Skin on around his
The lion skin, okay, deer skin on his the waist, and the matted hair, right? And then Ganges, the river Ganges on his head, the moon, half moon on his head, and what is that? There is a third eye, which is very, 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 very special to Lord Shiva. Right? Lord Shiva has this very, very unique features. So yeah, he's closing half eyes and meditating upon somebody. We'll see who is that somebody. Who is Lord Shiva meditating upon? And then he is wearing a garland, not with flowers, but with skulls. He's wearing a garland with skulls, right? And he has a waist belt. Do you know what is that waist belt made of? Scorpions and spiders, very poisonous spiders and scorpions. So that is Lord Shiva. Very, very unique, very special appearance. That's how Lord Shiva appears. And where does it? And the ashes throughout his body. And what are these ashes coming from? This is coming from crematoriums and burning ash. That's what he puts on his body. Right? Then how do we worship? Lord Shiva, the meaning of Shiva, the word Shiva is auspicious. Shiva means auspiciousness. And who does he hang with? Who are his associates in general? He hangs out with bhutas, pretas, ghosts, goblins, all these people. That's what all these living entities Lord Shiva is associated with. So when he is associating with all these inauspicious people, why do we consider his auspicious personality? Lord Shiva means auspicious. Right? That's very contradicting. And he's known as Yogishwara, best of all yogis. He's always meditating, right? So, but in general, the yogi means who is celibate. But he's a grihastha, he has Parvati and he has children. So that's another contradiction with Lord Shiva. So like that. And another thing is Lord Shiva's another name is Ashutosh, right? He is very easily pleased, but at the same time, he is very, very easily angered also. That's another contradiction in Shiva. So like that, there are so many contradictions when we discuss about Lord Shiva, right? And somebody says Lord Shiva is, supreme God. And some people say, no, he's not the supreme God. Krishna is the supreme God. He is demigod. Demigod means he's just a devata, but Krishna is the ultimate supreme God, right? So, and there is another confusion among the people, especially, there is a in South India, I mean, this conflict is not there much now, but in the olden days, like we're talking about 1,000 years ago, when Ramanujacharya was there was a fight between Shaivites and Vaishnavites. So Vaishnavites say, Vaishnavites means those who worship Vishnu, Shaivites who worship Lord Shiva. So there was a rift between these two groups, that Shaivites say that Shiva is the supreme, Vaishnavites say that Vishnu is the supreme. So then who is really supreme? Are they same? Are they different? What is the role of Lord Shiva? So today we will try to address those kinds of things. And when we discuss about Lord Shiva's pastimes in relation with Krishna, how Shiva is related to Krishna, there are three different considerations. These are called vicharas. Okay? There are three different considerations or vicharas, how we need to understand the relationship between. Sorry, thank you. So, so there are three vicharas or three considerations how we need to understand Lord Shiva, this personality of Lord Shiva. So the first one is called Tattva Gata Vichara. Tattva Gata Vichara. Tattva means understanding the relationship of Lord Shiva with Krishna by philosophical truth. Philosophically, how do you understand Krishna, Shiva? Philosophically, we need to understand who is Lord Shiva. That is first aspect of Lord Shiva. And the second aspect is there are several pastimes of Lord Shiva where Shiva grants some boons and benedictions to demoniac people, and finally Shiva gets into trouble. We have seen many pastimes. So can somebody tell a couple of those pastimes where Shiva gave some boons, but then finally ended up in trouble, then Vishnu saved him? What are some of the pastimes? Bhasmasura. Bhasmasura is one pastime where he gave a boon and then he got into trouble. We'll get into the details of the pastime later. But there are one category of pastimes where Shiva gave boons to demoniac people, but then he got into trouble. Then Krishna saved him, or Vishnu saved him, right? So these kinds of pastimes are called Aishwarya Gata Vichara. Aishwarya, that means consideration of Lord Shiva's relationship with Krishna in the Supreme Lord's majesty. Considering Krishna is the highest, Supreme Lord, and then Shiva is subordinate and dependent on Krishna. What are those pastimes where this kind of relationship is exhibited? Okay. The first one is Tattva Gata Vichara. Tattva means understanding Shiva's position from philosophical perspective. That is Tattva. And the second one is Aishwarya Gata Vichara. Aishwarya means where Krishna is the Supreme Lord, majestic, and then what is the relationship of Shiva with respect to Krishna when it comes to these pastimes. There is a second aspect. And the third aspect of is Naravat Gata Vichara. Naravat Gata Vichara means where Supreme Lord appeared as a common human being, as a Nara. Like, the Supreme Lord appeared as Lord Ramchandra, as a common man. That's what he appeared and performed Leela. In such pastimes or in such incarnations, how did Lord Shiva reciprocate or had the relationship with the Supreme? We understand the difference between these three. The first one is philosophical understanding of who is Shiva from philosophy perspective. And the second one is Aishwarya Gata Vichara. Aishwarya Gata means understanding the relationship between Shiva and Krishna, where Krishna is the Supreme and Shiva is depending on him. And the third one is the Supreme Lord comes as a human being and performs human-like pastimes. Like even when he came as Krishna, he performed so many childlike pastimes, normal human being, right? Those are called Naravat Gat Vichar. So understanding Shiva's relationship in that aspect. So these are the three different aspects or considerations one can understand Lord Shiva's relationship with Krishna. Okay. So now let's go to the first one, Tattva. From philosophy perspective, who is Lord Shiva? So there was one very, very famous poet called Kalidas. Some of you might have heard. So he made a statement. He said, Jagatat Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwaram. Jagatat Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwaram. Jagat means this entire material world. And he is saying, Kalidas is saying, Jagatat Pitarau. So the father of this entire material manifestation, material creation is who? Parvati and Parameshwar. Parvati is nothing but Durga, right? And then who is her husband? Lord Shiva. So Kalidas is saying that for entire material manifestation, this Jagat, Parvati is the mother and Krishna, Shiva is the father. That's what Kalidas is saying. So now, according to Bhagavad Gita, what does Bhagavad Gita say in 14.4? Does anybody remember that verse? It starts with Sarva. Sarva yonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita. So what is the meaning of this verse? The Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita that aham bija pradapita means I am the seed giving father of every living entity. So then how do we reconcile this? At one point somebody is saying Jagatat Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwaram, where Krishna, Parvati and Shiva are the father and mother of entire this material world. And another side, Krishna is saying he is the seed giving father of every living entity. So there seems to be some contradiction, right? So Krishna being the supreme Lord, we all know that everything is coming from Krishna. Krishna is the supreme Lord, Bhagavan. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajantema buddha bhava samanvitaha. 10.8, Bhagavad Gita 10.8 says Krishna is, everything is coming from him. Everything, the both material world, spiritual world, whatever is manifested, everything is coming from Krishna. Krishna is the source of everything. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? So being the master, being the supreme Lord, he doesn't have to do anything, right? So it's like the owner of a company, multi-billion-dollar company, he doesn't have to go and put bricks and mortar to build a building. He doesn't do that. When he's building a building, he physically doesn't go and do that. He hires somebody to do his work, right? Even at our home, people may be having millions of dollars of homes, but who does the lawn mowing? Who does the dishes? They always hire somebody. They don't do all these things, chores, right? And Krishna is also called Leela Purushottam. Vishnu is Purushottam, the Uttama Purusha, best of all. And then Lord Ram is called Maryada Purushottam. And Krishna is called Leela Purushottam. So being the Supreme Lord, all Krishna does is performing some pastimes and leelas with gopis and gopas and his devotees in Golok Vrindavan, right? But when he has a desire to do some things, so when we have a desire, what happens? Our desire and our action are two different things. That means, if I want to build something, I have to physically go and build it. I have the thought, but unless I go and physically do it, that doesn't manifest. That's our situation. But for the Supreme Lord, thought, action are same. As soon as thought comes into his mind, action is already done. It's already there. So that's what Supreme Lord is, right? So when the Supreme Lord wanted to create or manifest this material world, then there are certain expansions, right? The first expansion of Krishna is Balaram. From Balaram comes Chaturvyuha. From Chaturvyuha, Narayan. From Narayan, second Chaturvyuha. From there, Mahavishnu. So it's basically the Mahavishnu is expansion of expansion of expansion of expansion. That is Mahavishnu's position. Mahavishnu is also known as Karana Udaka Shayi Vishnu. Karana Udaka Shayi Vishnu. So what is Karana Udaka Shayi Vishnu doing? He is lying on Kajaloshan. So Kajaloshan, and he is in the Yoga Nidra. That's what Vishnu does, right? And when he has a desire to create this material energy, he glances upon this material energy, or Prakriti. So Prakriti is 3. So when he glances, that's all it takes for the Supreme Lord to create this entire material manifestation. That's all it takes. Just a glance. That much he has to do. Beyond that, he doesn't have to do anything, right? So when Lord Vishnu desires to create this material universe and he glances the material, the Prakriti, he impregnates the Prakriti. Okay? So now there is something very, very unique, special happens during that glance. When Lord Vishnu is glancing upon this material universe, the Prakriti, then the light coming between his eyes, that light is, focused onto this Prakriti. That light is nothing but Shambhu. That is, the Vishnu transforms into Shiva or Shambhu. Then Shiva is the one who interacts with Prakriti at that point. Okay? Lord Vishnu desires to create this, and the desire, the seed is put into Prakriti, but the actual glance, the actual interaction, the Vishnu transforms into Lord Shiva at that point, and then Shiva is the one who is interacting with Prakriti. That's how even though Krishna is the seed-giving father of all the living entities, which is also true, ultimately Krishna is the father of every living entity. That is, while that is true, but who is directly in contact with Prakriti? That is Shambhu or Shiva. So philosophically, so the transformation of Vishnu, when he is glancing the Prakriti, that the glance is Shambhu. The glance becomes Shambhu. So Shiva, Vishnu transforms into Shambhu, and then Shambhu interacts with Parvati or Prakriti to generate this material world or to do the creation, right? In that sense, Lord Shiva and Parvati are mother and father of this entire material creation. Does that make sense? So in Brahma Samhita, it's very, very clearly given. There is a beautiful verse with this respect. In Brahma Samhita 5.45, it says, Kshiram yatha dadi vikara vishesha yogat sanjayate nahi tata pratagasti heto yes shambhutam api tata samupaiti karya govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. So here, the first line it says, Kshiram yatha dadi vikara vishesha yogat. It says, just as, Kshiram means milk, just as milk is transformed into yogurt. How milk gets transformed into yogurt? By little bit of culture. You put some culture into it, because of that, the milk gets transformed into yogurt. Similarly, when Vishnu gets in touch with the Prakriti, because of the touch, it transforms into Shambhu. That is Shambhu. Okay. So that is the relation between Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu or Krishna from philosophical perspective. So is milk and yogurt same? In one sense, they are same. The both are dairy. This yogurt is coming from milk. And what are some of the things that comes from milk? Let's say butter comes from milk, ghee comes from milk, right? Same thing comes from yogurt also. Both are in one sense, milk and yogurt are same, but at the same time, both are different. So milk can be transformed into yogurt, but yogurt cannot be transformed back into milk. That doesn't happen, right? So similarly, Shiva and Lord Vishnu are in one sense both, but at the same time, they are different. Okay? So we have something called three types of tattvas or philosophical truths, right? We have Vishnu tattva, and another one is Jiva tattva, and then Shiva tattva. So Shiva is a very, very special personality in that respect, because we are all jivas. As a jiva, we have about 50 qualities in minute. Shakti tattva is another one. Yeah, all the Shakti. That's right. But in general, yeah, these are the three main. But Shakti tattva is another one where Parvati. Yeah, Shakti tattva is there. That's true. So yeah, the jivas have 50 qualities in minute quantity. 50 qualities. Jivas can exhibit 50 qualities in minute quantity. And Lord Brahma, who is the secondary creator of each universe, Lord Brahma is the highest secondary creator of each universe, possesses 50 qualities in full. Okay? But Lord Brahma is considered to be Jiva Tattva. He is also a Jiva. Okay? Except sometimes when a suitable person, qualified person is not available to maintain this entire material universe, one universe, that's when Krishna himself comes as Brahma, if there is no qualified person. But otherwise, Brahma is considered as a Jiva Tattva. He also has to, after end of his life, again, so it's Abbrahma Bhuvanaloka, Punaravritino Arjuna. So the life and death cycle continues in this material universe. So in that sense, Brahma is also Jiva. But Shiva is not considered as Jiva Tattva. And he is not considered as Vishnu Tattva also. He is in between, Shiva Tattva. Shiva is eternal. Even if the entire material manifestation is annihilated, but Shiva still exists. Okay? So Shiva has three levels of existence. Shiva has multiple levels of existence. One is Sada Shiva. He is a Vaishnava. He is a devotee of Krishna. He is in spiritual world. That is one level of existence of Lord Shiva. Right? Another one is called Rudra. Rudra is the one who appeared from the forehead of Brahma. When did Rudra appear? So in the dawn of creation, when Brahma created these four Kumaras wanted to, immediately they just leave home, right? They don't want to get into this grahastha, things like that. They don't want to deal with this. So that's when Brahma gets agitated. He gets angry. He doesn't express it outwardly, but he gets agitated internally. So that anger, the agitation is manifested as Rudra from his, from forehead. So that is Rudra. Okay? And then another level of manifestation of Sadashiva is Lord Shiva. Okay? So that's another one. So you have Lord Shiva, you have these 11 Rudras, and then Sadashiva, who is in the spiritual world. So that is different levels of Lord Shiva's manifestation. So the Lord Shiva in the material world and the Rudras are only from material world perspective. They are not eternal, but Sadashiva is eternal. And this Mahesh Dham, which is called Mahesh Dham, where Lord Shiva resides, it is between the spiritual world and the material realm. Okay? It is between the spiritual world and material realm. Okay? So that's where he's eternally performing, the worship of Lord Shiva. He's always chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna. That's what Lord Shiva is doing in that Dham. Okay, so that is Lord Shiva's, personality from philosophical perspective, right? So, and as I said, Brahma has 50 qualities, and Lord Shiva possesses 55 qualities. Vishnu 60 qualities, and Krishna as a Purna Purushottam, he exhibits all 64. He has all 64 qualities in full. That is Lord Krishna. Okay? So Shiva has 55 qualities, 5 qualities more than Lord Brahma and all the jivas, the living entities. Okay? And also Shiva is one of the Mahajans. Out of 12 Mahajans, Shiva is one of the Mahajans. So that is the personality or philosophical aspect of Lord Shiva. So any questions so far with respect to the Tattva Vichar, from Tattva perspective, who is Lord Shiva? So in one sense he is same, but at the same time, Lord Shiva is different. That's what you can understand. Yes.
How do get manifested and why?
What is that?
How does Sadashiva get manifested?
That's yeah, this is Shiva only. That's what we are talking. When Lord Krishna, when Vishnu glances over the material energy, that glance transforms into Shambhu. That is nothing but is Shiva. Yeah. And there is another explanation also. Sadashiva is expansion of the Krishna himself directly. So the combination of Sadashiva and Vishnu is Advaita Acharya. So that's another one. He is a Vaishnava, and there is a Vaishnava Sampradaya. There are four authentic, bona fide Vaishnava Sampradayas. Okay, if anyone follows any of these Sampradayas, they can go back to Vaikuntha or spiritual world. So there is one Sampradaya, being Lord Shiva is the devotee of Krishna, Vaishnava. So there is a Sampradaya called Rudra Sampradaya. So Rudra Sampradaya also people worship Vishnu, but that Sampradaya is initiated or started by the head of the Sampradaya is Rudra. Yes.
The manifestation of Balaram. So that
Yeah, there are a couple of explanations with respect to Sadashiva. That's what I said. Shiva is a very, very mystic and confusing personality. One explanation where I heard is that is the expansion of Balaram as Sadashiva. Another explanation I heard is directly Sadashiva is manifested when Vishnu sees material world. That's when Sadashiva manifested. These are the two different explanations I heard. So, but either way, that is eternal. That personality. Yes.
You have received, like which Vedas it is written on?
Some of the knowledge is given in Bhagavatam. There are a lot of pastimes of Lord Shiva from Bhagavatam, and there are some things coming from Shiva Puran. There are something coming from Skanda Puran. There are some acharyas written, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where a lot of pastimes of Lord Shiva is written. So there are multiple scriptures where Lord Shiva is mentioned, and these pastimes are coming from. Yeah, some of them are mentioned in Nectar of Devotion by one of the acharyas called Rupa Goswami. So that is mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in Sanskrit. Yeah, in English it is Nectar of Devotion.
we hear Shiva is like for destruction, not for creation. But you said Shiva and Parvati creates.
Yeah.
But we heard it is Brahma who actually meditates and then he creates the whole universe.
Brahma is the secondary creator. Once the material universe is created, all the material universe was created, that's when the role of Brahma comes into picture as a second creator for each universe. But this entire material manifestation, the creator, the maintenance, and destroyer is also Lord Shiva. From that perspective. Yeah. And Lord Vishnu transforms as Lord Shiva for destruction purposes, for annihilation. Yes, Vijwanika?
What does Lord Shiva have to do on his head?
What is that?
What does Lord Shiva have to do on his head?
Moon, there is a pastime of that. We will come to that. Okay, we'll discuss. There are so many pastimes. Why there is a moon on Lord Shiva's head? Why there is Ganges water coming from Lord Shiva's head, why he wears snake around him, why he has, all these ashes and things like that. We'll come to that point. Okay? We'll try to come to that point very soon. So that is the tattva perspective, who is Lord Shiva. So I guess everybody is clear with that. So let's get on to the next one. Understanding the relation of Lord Shiva with Krishna, which is called Aishwarya Gata Vichara. Aishwarya Gata Vichara means Krishna is the supreme majestic opulence, and then how Lord Shiva is serving Krishna in that relationship. Okay. So there are so many pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures where Lord Shiva gave so many boons, different boons to demoniac persons and demons, and then where he gets into trouble, right? And then finally he ends up approaching Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu protects Lord Shiva. So why does Lord Shiva do that? Does Lord Shiva, doesn't he know that these are demoniac people, and when he gives these boons, they are going to misuse these boons and things like that? Doesn't Lord Shiva know? Lord Shiva is as equivalent to Lord Vishnu. He knows everything, but still, when Lord Shiva performs all these pastimes, the intention behind all that is to glorify Lord Krishna. Because being a Vaishnava, being a devotee of Lord Krishna, whatever Lord Shiva wanted to do, that is to glorify, in glorification of Lord Krishna, and to exhibit that everybody is dependent on Krishna. He is not independent of Krishna. To exhibit those kind of things, Lord Shiva gives these such kinds of boons. So there is one very, very popular pastime of a demon called Vrikasura. We'll try to discuss two pastimes, couple of pastimes in this regard, Aishwarya Gata Vichar, to understand how Lord Shiva was dependent on Lord Krishna. Okay, so there was once upon a time there was a demon called Vrikasura. Vrikasura. He was also known as Bhasmasura. Okay, why he is called Bhasmasura? We'll know it. Okay, soon. So he was known as Vrikasura. So Vrikasura, he was a very, very demoniac person, but he wanted to get some benedictions. Okay, then he was thinking, who should I approach? There is Brahma, there is Shiva, and he heard of Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. So he was kind of wondering, who should I approach to get these benedictions? So at that time, Narada Muni, our dear Narada Muni approaches, is there. Then Vrikasura goes and approaches Narada Muni. What should I do? I need some benedictions, and who should I worship? Then understanding the intention of Vrikasura, because Narada Muni knows, he is a Trikala Jnani, he understands everything, right? What is going on. So he understands the intention of Vrikasura. So, and also Vrikasura wanted to get the benedictions really fast, quickly. He wanted something quickly. So understanding his intentions, Narada Muni says, the best person to worship is Lord Shiva. You go and approach Lord Shiva. So, okay. So then immediately, Vrikasura goes to the Kedarnath, one of the places in Himalayas. He enters that place, and then he lights up the sacrificial fire, and then he starts doing his sacrifice. And how was he doing his sacrifice? How was he performing this sacrifice to please Lord Shiva? He was chopping his flesh from his body and is throwing into the fire, offering his flesh, his own flesh, into the fire, and offering that to the fire to please Lord Shiva. Right? He's doing 1 day fast, 2 day fast, 3 day fast, 6 days. Lord Shiva is thinking, what is this guy doing? Why is he doing all these things? So just putting his own flesh into the fire. So this kind of worship is called mode of worship in ignorance. Worship in mode of ignorance. That's what it is called. So one has to worship the Lord in mode of goodness. So, but the demoniac people, the people who are in ignorance, they worship the Lord in this manner, right? So he's putting his own flesh, and finally, Lord Shiva doesn't appear. Finally, then he decides to put his own head, chop off his own head, and put in the fire. That's when Lord Shiva thinks, enough is enough. Now I have to go and appear in front of him and fulfill his desires. So then Lord Shiva appears, and Vrikasura becomes very happy and asks for, Lord Shiva says, what do you want? I am pleased with your sacrifices. What would you like to do? What do you want? So then Vrikasura asks for one benediction, where he says that, whoever on head I put my hand or palm, that person, the head should break into pieces, and immediately the person should die. It should become ashes. That is the benediction that Vrikasura asks for. Then Lord Shiva says, Tadastu. Okay? If that's what you want, Okay, tadas. That's what he says. So, our acharyas say that why Lord Shiva just grants boons like that quickly? Why does he do that? Our acharyas say that Lord Shiva, being a devotee, he does not want to waste time dealing with all these people. So many people come for material benefits, just let me get rid of them. Just quickly give them these benefits, benefits, whatever they want, so that I can go back to my sadhana, I can go back to my, worship of the Lord Krishna and, holy names. That's what Lord Shiva's mood is, just so that's why he said, okay, tatas. He gave this boon, and then that's when, as soon as Vrikasura got this boon, the benediction, then he develops lust for Parvati, who was sitting right next to Lord Shiva. So he develops lust for Lord Parvati. He wanted to have her. So how can he have her? Only by killing Lord Shiva. So he wanted to test. He wanted to put his hand on Lord Shiva directly, so that he can take away Parvati. So then he was approaching Lord Shiva to put his hand on head of the Lord Shiva. Then Lord Shiva, because he granted that boon and he cannot take it back. Once the boon is given, it's gone. He cannot take that boon back, the benediction back. So now Lord Shiva is in a trouble. So now Lord Shiva started running, running away from Vrikasura. Vrikasura is chasing Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva goes from all different planetary system, one planet to another planetary system. He's going through the entire, the material universe. Finally, he goes to Brahma Loka. He goes to different lokas where they could not help. Nobody could help. So then finally everybody kept silent. They could not help Lord Shiva. So finally Lord Shiva thinks that, ultimately, my savior is Lord Krishna or Vishnu. So then he goes to Svetadvipa. So where is this Svetadvipa? Svetadvipa is an island within this material realm. There is one Vaikunta. It's called Prapanchika Vaikunta. So that's where Kshirodakashayi Vishnu resides. Okay. Those who enters into this particular Vaikunta, that's also eternal. Even though this material world is, it's not eternal, the Prapanchika Vaikunta never goes again. So, so that is eternal. That's Vaikunta. That's where Kshirodakashayi Vishnu resides. So the Vrikasura is chasing Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva enters into this Svetadvip to take shelter of Lord Vishnu. And then Lord Vishnu appears as a beautiful, effulgent Brahman boy in front of Lord Shiva and Vrikasura. And he is such a beautiful, such handsome, very, very innocent, very effulgent, and he stands right in front of Vrikasura, and then he pays obeisances to Vrikasura, actually, this Brahmin boy, as a Brahmin, So to gain his confidence, he speaks, the Brahmin boy speaks very, very pleasant, sweet words to Vrikasura. And he addresses Vrikasura as, "O son of Shakuni." Vrikasura is son of Shakuni, right? "O son of Shakuni," as if he knows that he already has that relationship with Shakuni. He addresses Vrikasura with that, like that. Then Vrikasura becomes peaceful. He says, "Okay, looks like you are tired. You have traveled for so many days. Looks like you are running away from so many days. So why don't you get some rest first?" So then Vrikasura gets satisfied with Vishnu, the small boy, Brahmachari, and then he takes some rest, and then finally says, "What brought you here? What can we do? Looks like you are chasing after something. You want to do something. What is that you want?" Then Vrikasura says that, this Shiva gave me a benediction. Whoever I touch my hand on, put my hand on, their head is completely broken or immediately becomes ashes. So I want to do that. Then immediately this Brahmin boy, who is nothing but Vishnu, laughs at him and says, "You are believing this person, Shiva? So look at Shiva. He's full of ashes with all these things and matted hair. In the past also he made so many promises, but that nothing works. So do you really believe in this person? If you really want to test it out, first check it out. Why don't you put your hand on your own head?" So that's what Lord Vishnu, as a Brahmin boy, convinces Vrikasura. Okay. So see, ultimately, Vishnu creates an illusion for Vrikasura because he has illusory potency. The illusory potency is controlled by who? Vishnu ultimately. He says, "Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya." Right? So this interior, this Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya, this material energy, is under my control. That's what Krishna says. So he can create the illusion anytime. So he created the illusion for Vrikasura, so that Vrikasura simply agrees to that, that point that, that it looks like, whatever this Brahmin boy is telling true. I think I should try first on my head. If it works, then only I'll do. I will use the same thing on Shiva. So, that Brahmin boy says, if it doesn't work, then you go and kill Shiva. That's okay. But at least you can try. So then he gets convinced. Then he puts hand on his own head. Then immediately, Vrikasira head breaks into pieces and immediately he dies. So that's another name for Vrikasira is Bhasmasura also. He becomes ashes. So this is one pastime where Lord Shiva is telling the entire world, entire humankind, that even he is also dependent on Krishna. He is not independent of Krishna. He wanted to glorify Lord Vishnu. That's the reason he did this kind of thing. Okay, that's one story. It's actually 11, 12, 15. There are multiple stories where we can understand the dependency of Lord Shiva. But we will go to a couple of other pastimes of Lord Shiva where, how Lord Shiva is protecting, as the Kshetra Palaka in Vrindavan, right? So wherever Vishnu temples are there, Lord Shiva is the Kshetra Palaka. He protects the Dham. That's the role, that's the service given by Lord Vishnu to Lord Shiva. Wherever you see Krishna temples or Vishnu temples, there is a Lord Shiva's temple. So Lord Shiva protects the Dham. That's what Lord Shiva's service is. So we will hear a couple of pastimes because today is Shivaratri. Even though there is no scriptural evidence for this, but sometimes some people believe that Shivaratri is the day where Lord Shiva and Parvati got married. There is no scriptural evidence. I searched in Google. I mean, it's not very clear everywhere, but many devotees of Lord Shiva believe that it's the day Lord Shiva got married to Parvati. So let's try to hear one pastime, how this marriage took place, the pastime of Lord Shiva and Parvati wedding took place. Okay, so Parvati took many lifetimes, many lives, and every life she wanted to have only Lord Shiva as her husband. Shiva, Parvati wanted to have Shiva as her husband in every life. How many of you want to have same husband in every life after that? How many of us want to have same wife in future lives? Anyway, that's question for each of us. But Parvati wanted to have same husband life after life after life. That was her devotion to Lord Shiva. That much she loves, right? So in one life, one particular life, she was known as Bhuvaneshwari. Okay, Parvati was known as Bhuvaneshwari. So Bhuvaneshwari, she got married to Shiva, Lord Shiva, and then she was serving him very nicely. And one particular day, Bhuvaneshwari asks Lord Shiva while during the lunchtime talks going on between Parvati, Bhuvaneshwari and Shiva. So Bhuvaneshwari asks Shiva, so my dear Lord, you always seem to meditate upon somebody. You are always meditating on somebody. You are always chanting some holy names of somebody. Who is that person? What are you chanting? What are you meditating upon? Could you please explain? So then Lord Shiva says that I always remember or meditate upon the holy names of the Lord Ramchandra, Lord Ram. I always meditate upon Lord Ram. Then Parvati asks, Bhuvaneshwari asks, who is this Lord Ram? Can you say more about it? So with so much enthusiasm, so that is the devotees, right? When somebody asks about Lord, the devotees speak with so much enthusiasm the glories of the Lord. Immediately Lord Shiva starts speaking the glories of Lord Ram, profusely. She says Lord Ram is this, Lord Ram is Maryada Purushottam, the entire history of Lord Ram, his personality, his glories. He speaks everything about Lord Ram. Then Bhuvaneshwari gets very impressed. And at the same time, she wanted to test, she wanted to see who this Lord Ram is. So at the time, Lord Ram was in Dandakaranya, this particular pastime where Sita was already abducted. Sita is in Lanka, and Lord Ram was in search of Sita. He was completely lamenting, and he was looking for Sita everywhere. So in that viraha, in that vipralamba, he was seeing Sita everywhere. The tree everywhere, he's able to see Sita, and he was looking for Sita. She was. So that's what Lord Ram's situation was. So then what Bhuvaneshwari did to test Lord Ram, because Shiva said so many glorifications of glories of Lord Ram, so she wanted to test Lord Ram. So Bhuvaneshwari goes in front of Lord Ram in disguise of Sita, as Sita. He disguises herself as Sita, and he goes in front of Lord Ram. Then there are a couple of variations in the story, but this particular variation where Lord Ram immediately recognizes Bhuvaneshwari as Jagan Mata, and he pays obeisances to her. And then immediately, Bhuvaneshwari realizes that, okay, this is not an ordinary personality. So he immediately recognized me as Bhuvaneshwari, as Jagannatha. Then immediately, she leaves that place. She understands the potency of Lord Ram, and she leaves that place. And then when she comes back to Lord Shiva, then she forgets to. Lord Shiva sees Sita, he immediately pays obeisances to Bhuvaneshwari, because he thinks, Lord Shiva thinks she is Sita. So immediately she pays obeisances. Then immediately, Bhuvaneshwari says, hey Nath, hey my Lord, I am not Sita, I am your wife Bhuvaneshwari. But then it was too late, because Lord Shiva saw her as his mother, Mother Sita. So then he says, it's too late. Now I already saw you like my mother, so I cannot accept you as my wife. So then, it doesn't work. So then Bhuvaneshwari, with so much separation, then she leaves. That life goes on. Then they had to separate. Lord Bhuvaneshwari and Lord Shiva had to separate like that. That's how Bhuvaneshwari did not have the entire life with Lord Shiva in that lifetime, right? So in the next life, same Bhuvaneshwari appeared as Sati. So now there is a beautiful pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam. Sati Daksha invites everyone, but not Sati and Lord Shiva. But still, out of affection and love for father, Sati goes to Daksha's house. Then where Daksha did not even care about Sati, then she enters into the fire, right? So in the second life, she could not spend time with Lord Shiva. So now then the third life. The third life, after many lives, the same personality appears as Parvati, as daughter of Himavan. So okay, so appears as daughter of Himavan as Parvati. So now, right from the childhood, Parvati is very austere. She wanted to have Lord Shiva as her husband, right? But in that particular lifetime, Parvati did not know how Lord Shiva appears. She doesn't know, but she wanted to have Shiva as her husband. Okay, right from the childhood, that was her desire. So then, she grows up to be an young woman, and then it's a time for marriage of Parvati. Then Parvati's parents, father and mother, they arrange for the marriage. Finally, they accept that, even though Parvati's mother, she doesn't want this marriage to happen because she did not like Lord Shiva, but still, she agrees because Parvati liked Shiva, right? So they made all the arrangements for the wedding. So the final day came, the final day, the wedding day, the actual wedding day, So then, all the guests started coming to um, Parvati's house for wedding, right? So now, this is a wedding of Shiva and Parvati. Just imagine, wedding of Parvati and Shiva. The entire, all the demigods, everybody started coming to this wedding, to attend this wedding, this glorious wedding. So then first Kubera comes, very beautiful personality. Kuberas, all these are Gandharvas, right? These are demigods and Gandharvas. They are very extremely beautiful and handsome. So the first Kubera comes. So when Parvati looked at Kubera, immediately she asks Narada Muni, so is this my husband? Because she doesn't know how Lord Shiva looks, right? Even in olden days, like 50, 60 years ago, the women were not seeing who they were going to marry. Only on the day of marriage they used to see, right? Now the culture is different. Now people are even living together even before marriage. That's a different story, right? But olden days, the husband and wife don't even see each other until the day of marriage, right? So Parvati did not know, how Lord Shiva looks. So when she saw Kuvera, this handsome personality, she asked Narada Muni, is this Lord Shiva, my husband? Then Narada Muni says, hold on. This is Kuvera, is not Lord Shiva. Oh, okay. Then Kuvera goes in. Then Indra comes, another beautiful personality, so with all his, beautiful young ladies, Ramba, Urvashi, Menaka in front of him dancing, huge procession. He's coming on Airavat elephant, right? So he's coming, with such a pomp, a grand way. He's coming, right? So then Parvati thinks, he must be Lord Shiva. Then he asks Narada, is he Lord Shiva? No. This is Indra. This is not your husband, right? So like that, many Gandharvas, many demigods start coming, and every time she thinks that is her husband. No, finally, the groom starts coming. How does Lord Shiva come? What is his vehicle? Bull. Lord Shiva is sitting on a bull, with a snake on his, neck, and with full of ashes on his entire body. The matted hair, and then the snake around his neck, and the skull garland. And then the what is that? The belt is made with the scorpions and the poisonous spiders, and he was wearing just a deer skin. That was his appearance. And who are all with him? The ghosts, pishachas, rakshasas, the goblins. This is the entourage of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is coming like that. Then finally Parvati asks, who is this person? Who is even allowing him to come here? Who is even allowing this is my special day, and who is allowing him to come here? Who is coming? So then Narada Muni says, that is Lord Shiva, he is your husband. you know. Then immediately Parvati faints by looking at Lord Shiva. She just faints right there. Then after some time, when she comes to external consciousness, she talks to Vishnu. She says, Vishnu tells, Parvati, my dear Parvati, don't go by externals. One should not go by external. So Lord Shiva is a great personality, and Vishnu, glorifies Lord Shiva. He glorifies, he describes all the glories of Lord Shiva, and then after hearing everything from Lord Krishna or Vishnu, then she gets pacified. But still she says, okay, everything is fine, but still, how can I sit next to him and get married? So then if that's what your worry is, then, Vishnu says, don't worry, I will do all the makeup for Lord Shiva. So he takes Lord Shiva, then he completely changes his makeup, and he makes him ready. So then that's when Parvati gets satisfied. Okay, now this is fine. So then the marriage happens between Parvati and Lord Shiva in a grand way. So there is a South Indian temple called Madurai Meenakshi, Madurai temple, where Lord Shiva is known as Kalyana Sundareshwar. Kalyana Sundareshwar. That's the only place Lord Shiva is completely decorated that way. You don't see that like that anywhere. In a complete marriage attire, Lord Shiva is decorated, and there is a picture of Lord Vishnu holding Lord Shiva and Parvati in both hands for the wedding. So that's a very special place. So that's how, of course, this is a pastime, and that's how Lord Shiva and Parvati gets married. After marriage, one day Parvati asks this question. So you said you are eternal. No. She says, one day she asks, so everything is fine, but why are you wearing this garland with skulls? What is that about? I understand other things, but what is this skulls with you are wearing skulls garland? Then Lord Shiva smiles at her and says, these skulls are nothing but your skulls. All your previous lives. You took so many lifetimes, right? But you could not spend time with me. Each skull belongs to you only, Parvati, my dear Parvati. So out of separation, out of love for you, I am wearing all those skulls from your previous lives. So then Parvati asks a question. So you said you are eternal, but I am going through so many lifetimes. How is that possible? How are you eternal? Why I am not eternal? Then Lord Shiva says, you want to know the secret how one can be eternal? He says that I constantly chant the holy name of the Lord. I may even forget to breathe, but I never forget to chant the holy names of the Lord Ram. That's the reason I'm eternal. So that's why we answer that question. So, one can get eternal nature only by chanting the holy names of the Lord. One can become eternal associate of the Lord. So that's what it is. So do you have time for one more pastime, or should I end? Or do you want to hear another beautiful pastime? Very sweet pastime. Okay. So actually, I got strict instruction that I should end the class by 12:15. But that's not practical for me to, with so many beautiful pastimes, and I was thinking, it's not possible. But I will end with one more pastime, very beautiful pastime. Lord Shiva, as I said, is a Kshetra Palaka, right? So in Vrindavan, there are Lord Shiva's temples in 4 corners: north, east, south, and west. Each Shiva temple is known by different name. Shiva is also known as Mahadev, right? So he's known as Gopeshwar Mahadev, he's known as Ashishwar Mahadev, Chakaleshwar Mahadev, like that. There are multiple names Lord Shiva is called by. So we will hear one pastime why Lord Shiva is known as Ashishwar Mahadev. Okay, I was thinking about Gopeshwar, but let's hear Ashishwar Mahadev. It's very beautiful pastime. Okay, so now Lord Shiva, being the devotee of Lord Krishna, he meditated for many yugas. He prayed to Lord Krishna for many yugas, because Lord Shiva knew that Lord Krishna is going to appear in Dwapar Yuga and perform so many pastimes, beautiful pastimes, right? So Lord Shiva wanted to experience, Lord Shiva wanted to see those pastimes of Lord Krishna. So he wanted to be there when Lord Krishna is there doing these pastimes as a child. So he worshipped, he prayed to Lord Krishna for many yugas. Finally, Lord Krishna appears in front of Lord Shiva and says, no, my dear Lord Shiva, I am very, very pleased by your prayers. What do you want? What is the benediction that you want? Then Lord Shiva, after offering obeisances to Lord Krishna, he says that, my dear Lord, I know that you are going to appear in Dwapar Yuga. At that time, I want to become a stone. I want to become a stone in Vrindavan. Then after that, he realizes even becoming a stone is a big thing. He's asking for something big, huge. Then he says, even if I become, grains of dust in Vrindavan, even if I become a couple of grains of dust in Vrindavan, that is going to be really wonderful. That is the boon I want. That's the benediction I want. That's what Lord Shiva requests Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna says, since he was very, very pleased with Lord Shiva, he says, why just you want to become only 2 grains of sand in Vrindavan? You become a mountain. You become a mountain. On that mountain, my mother, eternal mother and father, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, they will build a house and we will play on you. Myself and Balaram, we will play on you when we are children. So, and then that is a boon granted to Lord Shiva. So that's how Lord Shiva becomes Nandishwar. He goes into Vrindavan and he goes to Nandagaon. He becomes Nandishwar hill. On that hill, Nanda Maharaj builds a palace. That's where Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai lives there with Krishna and Balram. So that, Krishna can put his feet on Nandishwar and, he can play. So that way, Lord Shiva can get his association like that. So that happened. Shiva becomes Nandishwar, right? Now, in Dwapar Yuga, now Lord Krishna, Balaram appeared. They are very, very small kids and small children. So, but, Krishna did not come out yet to play, right? He's still very small. Then Lord Shiva is feeling separation. Why Krishna is not coming out? I want to see him. So he has an extreme desire, to see Lord Krishna. So what Lord Shiva does, he manifests himself as Lord Shiva with all his, beautiful form, with all this and the whole thing, right? And then he goes into courtyard of Nanda Maharaj and he knocks the door of Mother Yashoda. Okay, so he's with same appearance, the snake and everything. It's like, so he goes there. So then Mother Yashoda, when she opens the door, somebody is knocking the door. Mother Yashoda just slowly opens the door a little bit, and then when she sees Shiva like this, then immediately she gets scared. Who is this personality is appearing right now? Like this, and then immediately he shuts the door. Then Lord Shiva, in this form of yogi, he requests Mother Yashoda, "Oh Maya Yashoda, I came here to take darshan of your Lala, your baby Krishna. Please show him once. I want to see him once." Then Mother Yashoda says, No. My Lala is very, very small. He's a small kid. He gets really scared by looking at you. I'm not going to show my Krishna to you. Please go away. I'm not going to show my Krishna to you. Then, Shiva, in the form of this yogi, so he requests, he begs, I came from a long distance from many, many days. I walked for many days. I am coming from long distance. Please, Mother Yashoda, please, Maya, please show once. I just want to take darshan of your Lala at least once. But then she doesn't, agree to that proposal. Then Lord Shiva goes into the courtyard and he sits there. Then Mother Yashoda, she just, why this yogi is not going away from here? So then she goes into the kitchen. She gets some rotis and some food. And then she goes and offers to Shiva. And she thinks, if you give some food, he will leave. So, but, he gives some food and says, now you go away. You don't sit here. So, but then Lord Shiva doesn't move from there because he is so determined to have darshan of Lord Krishna, right? So, but Mother Yashoda also very, she doesn't want to show Krishna. So to Lord Shiva. So then Lord Shiva decides that, I will go and meditate upon Lord Krishna, So I'll go into the forest and I'll start meditating. So he goes to the nearby forest and Lord Shiva starts meditating upon Krishna. Okay. So then when Lord Shiva leaves the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, Krishna starts crying profusely, starts crying, screaming. And Mother Yashoda cannot understand why Krishna, until now he was fine. But now all of a sudden he started crying like this. Some small kids, they cry sometimes, right? So, she could not understand why baby Krishna is crying like that. Then she offers milk, but Krishna doesn't take milk. She offers, some nice butter, very sweet butter. He doesn't accept it. He gives some sweets, laddu, but Krishna doesn't satisfy. Nothing is satisfying Krishna. He continuously keep crying. And Mother Yashoda doesn't understand why she is doing it, why he's doing like this. Then by then, all the gopis around the, around the neighborhood, they all came. They are also thinking, they are trying to pacify Krishna, but nothing satisfies Krishna. Krishna is continuously crying. Then finally, Purnamasi comes into the house of Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda tells, Purnamasi is, one of the elder ladies in that place in Vraj. So she comes and she says, okay, I don't know why Krishna is crying, please help. Then Purnamasi says, she asks, somebody casted evil eye on Krishna, your baby Krishna. So who are all came into your house from morning? Then Mother Yashoda says, she starts telling, morning Nanda Maharaj came, after that Upananda came, after that Vrishabhanu came, and these people came. Now I remember, now I remember. There is one yogi with, ashes on his body, with a snake on his around his neck. He came and he wanted to see Krishna, but I did not want to show him. But otherwise, nobody else came. Then Purnamasi says, that is the yogi who put, who casted evil eye on your Lord, your baby. So we have to immediately get this yogi wherever he is, then he only can remove that evil eye from Krishna. So you go and find that person immediately. So Purnamasi goes into the forest in search of Lord Shiva, this yogi. Then finally she sees, Shiva in meditation, and she goes and tells, oh yogi, why don't you please come? Krishna is crying, the baby Krishna is crying. Looks like, there is a evil eye casted on him. So only you can come and fix this issue. So Lord Shiva is extremely happy. That's what he wanted. He wanted to see baby Krishna anyway. So he takes this opportunity and immediately goes to Nanda Maharaj's house. So now Mother Yashoda is still scared to bring, Krishna to Shiva, this yogi. But then the Purnamasi, insists, there is no other way. You don't have a choice. You have to bring him out. So then Mother Yashoda brings the baby Krishna outside slowly, with fear, So then she brings him. And then Lord Shiva says, if the evil eye has to be casted away, then you have to put Krishna's feet on my head. Then only this will work. Otherwise, it's not going to work. But then, first of all, Mother Yashoda is very scared even to bring close to this person. And now he's demanding that, the feet has to be on his head. So, but, after so much consideration, Purnamasi and other gopis insist, no, you have to do it. Then finally, Mother Yashoda puts Krishna's feet, baby Krishna's feet, the lotus feet on Lord Shiva's head. As soon as the feet is touched Lord Shiva, immediately Lord Shiva starts dancing. He's in ecstasy. He's in ecstasy. All the yogis for millions of lifetimes, they want to get glimpse of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, right? Now Krishna's lotus feet touched Lord Shiva, then Lord Shiva goes into ecstasy and he starts dancing. And Lord Shiva's another name is what? Nataraj. He is the master of all dances. You can imagine how Nataraj dances. He's the king of all dances. And he has a damaru with the music, the damaru is dancing, it's like a complete ecstasy. And by looking at Lord Shiva dancing like this in ecstasy, Krishna becomes extremely happy. Then Krishna starts clapping, with smile, he's laughing, he's clapping. By looking at Krishna in that happy mood, all the gopis around, everybody's clapping, everybody is jovial mood, everybody's happy, right? So these are all happening. So then Mother Yashoda is thinking, so now Krishna is happy because of this. But if this yogi leaves, then Krishna starts crying again. So how do I keep this yogi all the time with my Krishna? What should I do? So then she goes and tells this yogi, okay, so now Krishna is happy because of you. Why don't you stay here? Then now Shiva has to take advantage of this situation, right? So he says, if you want me to stay here in Vrindavan, then I have two conditions. So then Mother Yashoda says, okay, tell me whatever you want, I will do, for my Lala. So then Shiva says, in the morning after bathing Krishna, every day, your baby Krishna, I want the Charanamrut. You go, you bring the Charanamrut and sprinkle on my head every day morning, the Charanamrut. Number two, after Rajbhog offering, that means after offering food to Krishna in the afternoon, the remnants, that has to come to me. I want the remnants of Krishna. So then Mother Yashoda doesn't have a choice. She says, yes, these two are granted for you. So that's when Lord Shiva becomes extremely happy, and then Krishna becomes happy because his devotee is happy. So since then, Lord Shiva, he stays there every day morning, the bathing of Krishna's, the Charanamrut that goes to Lord Shiva, and even after offering to Lord Krishna, that offering also goes to the Shiva. So Shiva is known in this place as Ashishwar Mahadev. Asha means hope. Asha means hope. So when Lord Shiva goes to meditate, to get darshan of Krishna. He had a hope that by doing this meditation, with that hope he starts performing that the meditation. So that's why he's called Ashishwar Mahadev. Asha means hope. So that's why he becomes Ashishwar Mahadev. So Ashishwar Mahadev ki jai jai jai. So there are many pastimes. I don't want to stop, but I know what happens after that. Naveen Krishna Prabhu is very strong. I am weak, so I don't want to take any risk after this. So yeah, I will stop here for now. We will end here, and if you guys have any questions, we can discuss after the. I am here after the feast, so we can discuss more pastimes, or if you have any questions related to Lord Shiva. But one point, as devotees of Lord Krishna, our mood when we approach Lord Shiva, our mood should be, we have to respect everyone, right? We have to respect everyone. What to speak of Lord Shiva? Lord Shiva is none other than Vishnu, so we have to have extreme respect to Lord Shiva. And when we are worshipping Lord Shiva, when we are approaching Lord Shiva, our mood is, my dear Lord Shiva, Mahadev, please help us to reach our ultimate purpose, ultimate goal, Lord Krishna. So there are two keys. When we want to go to spiritual world, there are two keys. One key is with Lord Shiva, another key is with Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. To get out of material world, the master of material world is Shiva. So the key to get out of material world is with Shiva. So we have to be very careful with Shiva, if you want to get out. But then to enter into the spiritual world, the key is with Krishna. So that's why we have to please Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna. How do we please Lord Shiva? A devotee is pleased when you worship his master, Lord Krishna. So that's why one should not go to Lord Shiva or any demigod for the purpose of material benefits, which is not going to help. So when we approach Lord Shiva, we have to pay our respects and beg him to give us Krishna Prem. How I can approach Krishna? So as being a very dear devotee of Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva will help us to achieve that. So that should be our goal. Okay? Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ashishwar Mahadev ki jai.
Now we'll all move to the next part of the program. Stand and sit. Put the mats aside.
Muslim.